My name's Donald Dufault, born October 20th, 1934.
October 20th,
1934.
1934.
Yeah. Born in Massachusetts here, Winchendon, Massachusetts. Grew up there. Went to school there till I joined the Army at 18 years old after I graduated high school. And 52 to 55 spent in the Army, and went to Korea.
Let me stop you there.
Sure.
Tell me about your family. How
My
many
family?
brothers and sisters and...
I have one brother. He's 10 years younger than I. My parents have both died. I'm married now. I've been married for 57 years. We have 7 children.
But what about your sister? You didn't have any sister?
No, just one brother.
Mm.
Just one brother.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you were the eldest son?
I was the one and only for 10 years till he was born.
Right.
Yeah.
So when did you join the military?
In October of 52, I'm sorry. I graduated high school 51, so 1952 to 55 I was in the military.
And you already knew that the Korean War broke out at the time?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
What did you think about that?
At the time, I just thought of it, well, here we go again. We have to get at it again, but at the time, that was not my primary concern. My primary concern was leaving home.
Why?
Personal reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to get out of the house?
I needed to get out of the house.
Uh-huh.
And my out at the time for me was the military. That's where I went.
So did you join the Army or
Army.
Navy?
Yeah, I was in the Army.
Where
yeah.
did you join? I mean, tell me about your basic training at the boot camp.
Boot camp was at Camp Breckenridge, Kentucky. 101st Airborne at the time was a training unit. And I did my basic training there. I volunteered to go to jump school, paratrooper school, but didn't make it for whatever reason. I don't know why, but wasn't accepted to jump school. But that's okay. Probably worked out better that way. Yeah. Well, I was 18 years old at the time, and I guess you might say part of the old not afraid, pretty much of.
Have you known of Korea before you left to fight there?
Just what I read from and heard at the time on the radio.
What do they say about it?
Well, it was a lot of problem, of course, 1950, 51, at the time of going up all the way to the Chinese border, and then having gotten beaten all the way back to Busan, and there was a lot of people were, of course, considering the fact of having just gotten out of one war and into another. It was not popular. Not popular. Nobody. That's the last thing anybody wanted to do at the time, was fight another war. Mm-hmm. But I looked at it. I guess you might say I volunteered. I wasn't drafted. I volunteered. So what happens happens, and it wasn't as if I was dragged in. So I went in kind of open-minded, if you will.
Did you learn anything about Asia and particularly about Korea in high school?
No, not really. No,
Do you remember anything that you learned in your history class about Asia?
nothing specific, generalities mostly, general geography. But I guess the high school was my level of education at the time. High school was just a matter of getting through it because I had pretty much general courses. I had no, it was not a college-oriented program at the time because college was not in my thoughts at the time. So because I was working and going to school at the same time, so my interest was pretty much just getting through school on the easiest course at the time, the general education. So there wasn't that much indication or interest in history and geography so much.
Do you remember when did you arrive in Korea and where?
In Port of Incheon. We came by ship at the Port of Incheon, and that was in the end of April of 1952.
53.
53. 53, right. Ultimately transported over a period of time till I got to my unit that I was assigned to in the 7th Infantry. And they were online at the time at the 38th parallel. That's where I went to, and that's where I was until pretty much until the end, all the way through. We stayed there.
Do you remember where was it? Name of the camp or the Korean location name?
We were in the area of Pork Chop Hill. That was my last encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I spent my time, and that's where I got assigned to the signal portion of the company, and learned. That's where I learned wiring and working with electronics and generators and the like. That's keeping the camp, I guess, electrified somewhat, or keeping the communications going, and that's
Was that your specialty?
that's what became my specialty.
Okay.
After arriving in Korea, they were looking for somebody to run telephone lines at the time, and I volunteered, and that's ultimately became my specialty. And kind of had a little celebration back at camp because it was a successful. We were able to accomplish the mission on that particular time, and that's the only active participation that I had as far as actual combat was of any kind was concerned. I went out on a few patrols, but the patrols didn't really amount to anything. It was quiet. Managed to spend the night quietly out there and came back and didn't encounter any hostility, which was fortunate. But other than that, no, it was pretty much a day-to-day thing. I had some buddies, of course. Everybody acquires buddies. And I became a squad leader in the communications section of the company, and lucky to have a Jeep and a driver, so we were able to.
You had a chauffeur.
I had a chauffeur, yeah, for a while until we lost the Jeep in the stream in the monsoon season. Trying to cross. I don't know. Have no idea what the name of the stream was, but it was really running good. It was really flooded, and we were going to cross we needed to get to the other side, but we got to the other side. The Jeep didn't. That was okay.
Mm. So you were in the rear, and you were
pretty much, yeah.
And mostly it's been safe, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where did you sleep? Was it in the bunker, or were you in the?
Yeah, we had a bunker that we stayed in. The bunker was there was a dozen of us to the bunker,
How did you make the bunker? Tell me.
It was all made. It was all made when I got there. Is it
underground or is it?
We were on pretty much at the close to the top of the hill, so that the bunker was partly above ground, partly below ground, but it was well secured. Well secured, yeah, yeah. There's several bunkers along the line that we took care of, and along with the company that I was with, there must have been I don't know. Along the line, there must have been half a dozen bunkers that we were taking care of. We also took care of the mess hall communications. Very important to take care of the mess hall communications.
Young kids often ask, where did you go to pee? Where did you go to eat? To the Korean War veterans?
Yeah.
How do you say to them?
Well, we had the tents that were erected for mess hall. That's where the cook tents were. We ate. We got our food in the chow line, and we were lucky. We had a regular kitchen, a lot of hot food, well cooked food for the most part.
Tell me, what did you eat?
Well, a lot of breakfast, SOS as they call it. But had scrambled eggs, a lot of scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage.
Man, you were in the hotel.
Yeah. Oftentimes we were able to even on certain days and certain conditions, we were able to order eggs the way we wanted them. That was unusual.
Sunny side up. Sunny
side up. Yeah. Yeah. We had a.
You are lucky.
Yeah, really. We had I remember very well, we had a first lieutenant, who was the company commander when I got there. He was Korean. Name is Lieutenant Jack Thun, Thun. I remember him very well. And he and his first sergeant, can't think of the first sergeant's first name, but they worked well together. They were the kind of people that could look at you and rip you up one side and down the other and smile all the way through. It's fantastic.
Oh.
So you didn't want to get chewed out by any one of these guys, but they were great. He was very good. When I first got there, my second lieutenant, who was the platoon leader, turned out to be a local from my area of town, my area of the Massachusetts here. He lived in neighboring town about 25 miles away. I met him, and he was on his way out when I got there. He left 2 weeks after I got there. He went home. He was rotating home. But that was kind of a welcoming committee when I got there. I was met by somebody who I was kind of familiar with because he lived in my state, neighboring town.
What was the feeling when you met the guy who are coming from the same region in the war?
Well, I was hoping I'd be in for a little bit of special treatment. Didn't work.
No.
Didn't work. First off, because I found out shortly after I got there that he was on his way out, so it didn't make much matter. I kind of hated to see him go. You know, tall. He was a tall, good-looking guy. He's still alive. He lives in Athol. I think he's in a nursing home now, though. But overall, it wasn't that bad a time. I survived.
Looking back all those years, what do you think? What are you getting out of your service during the Korean War? Why was it told to be forgotten, and why is it unpopular? Tell me about your, sort of retrospective kind of perspective on your service and Korean War.
I was disappointed coming back home after I got here, going to veterans organizations, even local veterans organizations, American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars. I wasn't impressed. They didn't. They were glad to take my dues money, but beyond that, no, they weren't much interested in what I had to offer. So I didn't keep up membership. I just dropped off and went about my life. Got married. I joined other social organizations of, civilian social organizations. I never really went back until coming up with this organization. I never really got back to a military organization of any kind because they didn't seem to have any interest in what I had to offer. So just.
What did you want to do with the organizations when you first joined them?
Well, I didn't stick around.
What did you expect from them?
I had no idea, really. I expected to be more welcomed than I was. As I say, they were glad to take my dues money, but beyond that.
So the Korean War was not really popular?
No, it wasn't.
Why was it so forgotten?
I think because the American people wanted to forget it, really. And they wanted us. They didn't want to hear what had taken place, or they didn't want to hear anything about it. They just wanted to close the book, really.
Was it because right after the World War II?
Probably had a lot to do with it. We had lost an awful lot of people in World War II, and we lost an awful lot of people in the Korean War. Casualties were very heavy from the, 51 to 52. Casualties were very heavy for everybody in Korea.
Also in 1953, there was
In
a
53,
really,
all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way through.
so you were very lucky.
I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
You had never been wounded.
No,
No.
no. No, we spent all of our time, all my time was spent up there on the 38th parallel in that bunker area, in that same area, which was a year, the most of part of a year. Had some friends, most of whom, I don't know, I have never kept up with any of the people I was in my unit. We had a dog for a while that we adopted, that we would have, that I had. I would have loved to bring that dog home, but that would have been too much.
That's a Korean dog.
Yeah, Korean dog.
So eating American food.
Yeah.
During the war.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, yeah. But we also had ROC soldiers assigned to our unit, and
Tell me about him.
yeah. Oh well, he was a kind of a liaison. He was connection with to connect the other ROC soldiers along with the American soldiers. Hell of a cook. He cooked some good stuff.
What?
Well, don't ask me the names of it, but it was good eating.
What kind of materials and how did it cook?
Well, a lot of, maybe there was a lot of meat in there that we didn't, that we didn't realize that it was. But no, he would get food from the mess hall, American food from the mess hall, and along with the flavoring of rice and Korean flavorings of chicken and beef and whatever he could get his hands on, and he would put together.
Was it spicy, the red sauce?
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes wasn't. But it was usually all cooked out over open fire.
How many Korean soldiers were with you? Just liaison officers?
Just liaison officers, about maybe a half a dozen throughout the company.
How did you like them?
They were fine. I had the particular association with the one. He was had
Remember
to do
his
with
name? Last name?
No. He was in communications, and that's the association we got, was the communications part. But no, I don't remember his name. I can picture him in my mind. I picture
What do
his
you want to
face.
say to him if you arrange to meet with him right
If
now?
I was to meet with him, it would be a great reunion, and I'd be glad to see that he was still alive along with me. Huh?
What do you want to say to him? Say it to the camera.
What do I want to say? I
Yeah.
wish you well. I hope you're still alive, and I hope that you're still healthy and that all is well in your country. Believe me, it would be great to be able to say hi, but I don't know. Who knows?
Have you been back to Korea?
No, I've read of the return visits to Korea. They interest me. I wouldn't mind. I would like to go back and take a look and see where we're at, see what's there. My wife says she would not go. She's not fond of traveling by air in the first place, and she's not fond of traveling halfway around the world. Although we did go to Finland a few years ago on a trip that we won, but she says absolutely not. She would not go. But I don't think I'd want to go by myself. I'd want to take her with me if she, I'd like to show her what I was doing, get her some sense of what I was doing. Although from what I read and what I see, in Seoul. I did brief R&R in Seoul, and then is not what it is now. It's a metropolis now from what the pictures that I've seen. But at the time I was in Seoul, there was a lot of bombed out places, a lot of destruction, and we had to be careful where we went and who we went with. But I would have liked to have done that, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's okay.
You know that it is small country. It's just size of Indiana state, and everything devastated right after the war. But now we are the 7th largest trading partner to the United States and 11th largest economy in the world, and it's one of the most vibrant democracy in Asia.
Yeah.
What do you think? What did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah, to make Korea what it is now.
Well, I think overall, I think what I did, my little part, I managed to be part of a unit that preserved what the South Korean people were fighting for. And I think as a result of it, the South Korean people have put together a great country, great organization, and it's too bad that they can't convince the North Korean people to wake up and see the light of day, if you will. It could be so different all the way across that peninsula. It could be so different.
This is the 60 years anniversary of U.S.-Korea alliance, and also 60 years anniversary of armistice.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the U.S.-Korea alliance, and what should we do to replace this armistice?
I think it's great now. I think years ago I didn't think that it was such a big deal. Years and years ago, when the conflict finally stopped. Grateful that it stopped. At the time, couldn't wait to get out because they stopped. The conflict stopped in July of '53, and I didn't come back until the fall. And over time, I grew to appreciate. I think I grew to appreciate the fact that it wasn't a lost cause, totally. And then when I see the latest, I think for me the latest big accomplishment that I seen South Korea do was the manufacture of the automobile, a Kia automobile. It's a fantastic machine, really, and we were part of that. In the foundation. We're in the foundation, and that's, I think, that's the important part, is the foundation and what the Korean people have managed to do with all that. And I was at the banquet last summer in Boston, and I thought was a fantastic thing that the Korean people, the Korean government put together. That was absolutely fantastic. Who else has expressed that kind of gratitude to the American people?
No.
Really, I thought about that. The Japanese, we rebuilt Japan. Germany, we rebuilt Germany. I say we, the American people. But nobody else that I know of has expressed in that fashion, in a fashion of the the situation, the celebration that was in Boston last year. Nobody else. So that's got to say a lot for the South Korean, for the Korean people. Appreciate that very much.
We appreciate your service. Did you lose your colleagues there, your soldiers, your friends during your service? Anybody?
Those that were with me, no. No.
Did you have a camera with you?
Yeah. We took a lot of. I took a lot of pictures. I sent a lot of pictures home. They're somewhere in the trunks at home. Haven't sorted them out yet.
Really? Do you have any comments or message about Korean War and Korean War veterans, or any message to our young generation about the war that you experienced?
Only thing I could probably say would be to anyone, if you hear about at all a mention of Korean War, if you don't know anything about it, please do some research and find out what did happen and what the results were, and if there's any possibility that you have from anyone that would be beneficial to help the situation, to help the matter of the so-called forgotten war not to be forgotten. It would be, an item for research, and it would be great just to so that, along with other important happenings in the world, that we should also remember where we came from, remember where we are, look at the results of what can happen,
Your interview will be uploaded into the website there in my business card.
Oh, really?
So I want to ask you to ask your grandchildren to check those out. Okay, I will let you know when the interview is uploaded, because it will take some time because I have to edit it.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time.
Sure.
But please check that out, and that will be the source for them to research, okay, about the Korean War that you fought for.
Oh, okay.
I want to thank you for your service and fight for the Korean nation. There is no
you're
Korea
welcome.
without your contribution.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And could you hold it up to your face so that it can... Great. Thank you very much again.
You're welcome.